Hey everyone, my name is Scott. I decided to do my presentation on short field procedures, takeoffs and landings, because they've been the most difficult thing for me so far, getting ready for my check ride and going through the syllabus. So first thing is the takeoff, obviously, but even before that, we need to make sure we consult our POH for the distance required if we're going to have enough runway available for us. While we do these simulated short field takeoffs and practice ones, we don't talk about that so much, but when it comes to your check ride, your examiner may want to talk about it on the ground ahead of time, or if they're mentioned, maybe mention it while you're taxiing out, knowing you're going to do a short field takeoff. Say I want to check density altitude, I want to make sure that I have enough runway, critical obstacles, all those kind of things need to be taken into account. Configure flaps as required by your POH. I'm flying 172 and it's flaps 10. Use the entire runway. Again, muscle memory would kind of just taxi straight on the runway and go. This time you need to taxi straight out and maybe even cheat more towards the approach end of the runway to get to that threshold line and use all available runway. And that also comes in handy for this next one when you're lining up on the center line and getting the nose wheel straight. You may eat up some of that runway just doing that. So we don't want to do that, 50, 100 feet down the runway. We'll set power holding the brakes, not the parking brake. Use your feet, because they'll probably creep into the parking brake. And check your RPM before you go, and your engine instruments as well. Just note that your RPM may be a little bit lower since you're not moving forward. Once you get rolling, they'll come up a bit. Release the brakes and accelerate to your rotate speed. And after that, climb at VX until safe altitude. It would probably be briefed ahead of time. We use 50 feet most of the time. And then lower the nose to achieve VY before lowering the flaps, raising the flaps, and continue at VY. Some common mistakes for a short field takeoff is not using the entire runway available. Again, muscle memory, taxiing out like a normal takeoff. We want to taxi closer to the approach end of the runway and use the whole thing. Another one's looking up too early, trying to force the airplane in the air. We don't want to do that. Let it rotate at rotate speed, and then pitch for best angle VX. So that can not maintain VX. You want to climb out at that airspeed. Make sure you don't pitch up too much or keep the nose too low. You want to find that nice soft spot to maintain VX. And then the next mistake is sinking when transitioning. When you raise the flaps up, you're going to sink a bit. So you want to kind of prepare for that so you don't sink too much. Next is a short field landing. Once again, consult your POH for procedures and speeds. If they don't have any speeds published, then use 1.3 times your solid speed and landing configuration. And you just find that speed, that VSO, and multiply by 1.3, and that will be your final approach speed. Try to maintain that all the way in. Use full flaps so you can get the most lift at the slowest speed. And when making corrections on final, remember power equals glide path and pitch equals airspeed. Getting those backwards can really mess up your stable approach and really mess up the whole landing. Reduce throttle to idle if you can. If you have a heavier aircraft or whatever, you may need to leave some in, but you would know your aircraft better than I would. Make sure you do that. Next, touchdown just above the stall speed. The minimum controllable airspeed you can as you're coming down. And apply heavy braking. Most places want to simulate that. You call out braking on your check ride. And the real deal, full brakes. Don't skid, use full brakes. Utilize aerodynamic braking. That will keep most of the weight on your main mounts and give you the best braking performance. And lastly, configure flaps in accordance with your POH. Most of them probably want you to get the flaps up to, again, reduce that lift, getting all the weight on your main mounts. Common landing mistakes, not flying a stabilized approach. These all kind of lead into each other, you'll notice. Not flying a stabilized approach, which can lead to getting slow on final, or getting fast on final, carrying too much speed, which all can lead to missing the touchdown point, which is the big moneymaker on the whole short field landing thing, and forgetting to configure your flaps or brake for the short field landing. The check ride standards, consult the ACS for each rating being sought, and then as well as your POH. Once again, for specific airspeeds and procedures, your examiner is going to want you to follow those numbers. For the commercial aircraft single engine land and aircraft multi-engine land, they're the same. Your airspeed should be plus or minus 5 knots of your 1.3 VSO or published POH speed. and that's corrected for wind also. And you want to touch down not prior to your point of landing and within 100 feet of that. So if you're using the numbers, you're probably going to be within that first line afterwards, not even further than that. Some check ride tips. Fly a stabilized approach. If we saw the mistakes, they can all not flying a stabilized approach can kind of lead into a bunch of common mistakes. Remember your normal landing duties. You know, you can get so focused on the short field landing that you forget to get your checklist, to do runway incursion checks, check the approach corridor for any other aircraft coming in, instrument scan, all those things. You want to make sure you don't forget the basics. Also, on a short field landing, your priority is getting it down on your touchdown point. Make it a short field landing before you worry about making it a soft, smooth landing. We want it to be short. If it comes out being firm, oh well, that's just kind of part of it. And lastly, concentrate. You're the PIC. Your examiner may trip you up by trying to hold a conversation or quiz you on this. You're the PIC. If you need to focus all your attention on that and none on him, let him know. You know, let's talk about it after we roll out. You know, let's talk about it after we taxi off. You know, make sure you have all of your attention on that landing. Hope it was helpful. Hope it helps me as well. And look forward to seeing your guys' videos too.